So, welcome to my spare room. The title's gonna say it all, so I'm not gonna try to, hide it or anything. I am building a display for a piece of stage-used GWAR armor that I've purchased. It was one of the deals they had with the New Dark Ages bundles, and while New Dark Ages isn't really my favorite GWAR era ever, this armor is a bit older than that, and it does actually kind of have a weird sentimental value to me, apart from just being something from a band that I really love. So the reason we're in this room is because this is the room I want to build that display in. But this room is kind of it's been like a storage room for a long time now. It's been very much neglected in terms of like having it look good or have any real solid function. So I'm going to kind of take you through some of it in terms of getting this space ready. Really probably less of me cleaning it out and more of the actual process of building the shelves and putting stuff up on the walls and all that to make this display out of everything. I purchased this right when New Dark Ages was announced and they started putting the bundles out. It's been the majority of a year since I put the order in, and then I just finally got a email the other day basically confirming my address to make sure they shipped to the right location. They already told me there's one item that's going to be delayed because it was supposed to be signed and then arrived to them unsigned. So, I don't know when this stuff's actually going to get here, but it's time to start making room for it, I think. I hope. And you want to know the other fun fact about this room? Well, I'll tell you anyway, because I'm assuming you don't. But I am mildly convinced, more than mildly convinced, that this room is haunted. I've just had weird experiences around this room. When the door's left open for a lot of time, I will see shadowy figures walking around the rest of my condo. Stuff seems to fly across the room with no good reason sometimes in here. I've had people staying in this room who have seen people who shouldn't be here or who don't exist or are just not human in here. To the point that I literally have a bottle of holy water in this room. I don't know. That was kind of a joke, but I've left it in here because it seemed to be less crazy once I put that in here. So yeah, clickbait title, there you go. Setting up a GWAR collection in a haunted bedroom. Alright, IKEA run is completed. Picked up the shelf for the display. This is the IKEA Korpiklani. So yeah, I'll build this thing up and we will take a look at it. I was considering vlogging building it, but I feel like every stupid vlog that involves some kind of like display involves people assembling IKEA furniture, and honestly, I'm not going to make you guys sit through that. And yes, I know Korpiklani is a Finnish band, not a Swedish band. I couldn't think of a Swedish band that had a name similar to that I could pronounce. Alright, we've got the IKEA Amanamarth completed in here. Really, honestly, a cool shelf. It's designed so you can either put it on, like, the end, or you could put it long ways like this. So even their, like, demonstration stuff had stuff where there's one, like, bookending it, so horizontal, then a bookend vertical. I may end up doing that if the collection expands enough to warrant it, and I have enough room where I'm not storing stuff in tubs or whatever. But looking at this and knowing my typical aesthetic, you might be wondering why I decided to get the IKEA Hammerfall in white. Well, my plan is to take the Sabaton and to paint it up like Jizmak's drum kit, I think back in the Beyond Hell era, to match the GWAR theme. So, let's do that.
Now we are back, so let's go have some beers. Secure in the fact that we are without peers. 100 million more years.
Alright, so, as you can see, went and added some blood splatter to the top of this white cabinet, and I didn't want to go too crazy on the lower part. I wanted to just kind of feel the GWAR stuff bled all over the top and then kind of seep down in some parts. But I think overall it works. Obviously did a lot of splatter throughout and then some bigger kind of blood stains. This one kind of went with an intentional shape with the rest. Not so much, but yeah, we've got that going. So obviously got to let this dry, and then I'll probably start adding the couple things I can add to this ahead of time. I don't really know how big the main pieces are going to be, so I can't really put them on here in any permanent way or map them out, but that's never going to stop me. I'm just going to start putting stuff on here once this is dry and seeing what it looks like. So after what I filmed last night of me painting some bits onto the IKEA arch enemy, I actually did go back and add a little extra blood to it. The original pattern, I felt like I had large blood splatters and then like a bunch of really tiny mist kind of on there. So I added in some basically smaller to medium sized blotches. So I do currently have an okay amount of stuff that I want to include here. And we'll kind of take a quick tour through what's here, even though some of this is still waiting for its ultimate form or ultimate display or whatever. So first thing, I've got the HOP Toys Odorous vinyl, and then I have the Odorous Ale next to him that came out not long after he died, I believe. I think it was maybe a year or two. The Let There Be GWAR book. Glad I picked this up when I did, because apparently this is kind of hard to come by now, so I'm happy to have this, very much so. Over here I've got a copy of Live from Antarctica, and it's signed by Balzac, I believe Odorous and Flatus, I think is who's on there. My only thing is I'm not entirely sure it's the right Flatus that signed this. Obviously, Balzac and Odorous have been in the band for years, and if they signed it at any point, it kind of works. But I had another item with this that does kind of have a date on it, and if this was signed at the same time that that other item was signed, it's the wrong Flatus, so not sure. And then over here, I've got my DVD collection. So, Live from Antarctica, Phallus in Wonderland, Skullhead Face, Rendezvous with Ragnarok, Bloodbath and Beyond, It's Sleazy, the live anthology set signed by Sleazy, and then the Scumdogs 30th Live. Up here on top, I've got my vinyl collection for GWAR. I had actually done this a little while back. I bought a similar white display and bloodied it up, so it looks even cooler now on the bloody table. So here up front, I have the Record Store Day Black Friday picture disc that has the covers, like the AV Club covers, but I think they're actually studio recordings of them. So Odorous picture disc on one side, Blothar on the back. Then my vinyl collection isn't anything fancy. A lot of these are reissues over the years, so it's not like it's anything super rare. So Scumdogs, America Must Be Destroyed. Apparently I never unwrapped This Toilet Earth. Ragnarok. Carnival of Chaos. Lust in Space. Bloody Pit of Horror. Blood of Gods. The Disc with No Name picture disc. Scumdogs 30th. And New Dark Ages. There's definitely a nice little track of GWAR albums that apparently there's like rights issues with that they don't have on vinyl. I don't even know if any of them were issued initially except for maybe Battle Maximus, but I really would love them to be able to release those mid-albums. And then obviously kind of been looking for a copy of Hello that isn't $200, but that may be what I have to pay for one. Got to look over these Knuckleheads figures. I have Wave 2 on order, but I guess it was delayed as of this filming. I had bought, this is a foam hammer or wrench made by Hunter Jackson, sold through his site, House of Hunter, and it is autographed there on the side, which is really cool. Basically the same thing on the other side. It's a soft foam, looks like it was spray painted. But I thought it was a cool little bit to add for some classic GWAR stuff. And then the box that it was shipped in was so cool. He drew a little picture on there of Techno, so I just cut that off the box and saved it and framed it. I'm going to hang that up behind all this. Got the New Dark Ages signed little, it's not like a signed record, it's like the insert they put with the record, it's signed. I may be getting a second one of these. I think the bundle, because I basically ordered a t-shirt bundle when this first came out, and then when the Deluxe Armor bundle was announced, I ordered that again, so I basically got a general release and then a fancier release, so I think I might get another one of these, but whatever. It's cool art. Say what you will about the album. It's definitely cool album artwork. And then under that, I already have framed the Scumdog's 30th Live. Basically the same autographs on this one. And I do have the same frame coming so I can frame up the New Dark Ages. And then last right now, I've got my stack of comics. So I've got Slave Pit Funnies. I think I have all but number 3. So I'm on the lookout for number 3. But they're all bagged and boarded. I have a new display coming for them shortly. Graphic novel of Duoverse of Absurdity. I got the individual release Orgasmageddon comics. I don't have any of the variants, or maybe I have a variant or two, but like, I only have one of each, so nothing too special there, really. The Enormogantic Fail graphic novel, and then the Orgasmageddon graphic novel. So these are going to get redisplayed so they look a little better, and obviously this stuff isn't all going to sit on the top shelf like it is, because I think once the armor's on here, I'm going to have to redistribute a lot of stuff, but making some progress. Alright, next step in this is I wanted to build a base for the armor. I don't really know how heavy this is going to be, so I went a little overkill and got this from Home Depot. It wasn't that expensive, but it's basically a round piece of wood. It's like 17 3/4 inches by 1 inch thick, but you know, this is fine, but it could be cooler, right? So, went looking through some GWAR images and found one of Blothar's shield. So this should match up with the top of that display. I added a little red dot roughly in the center in Photoshop so I know where to drill the hole. I'm just going to build a PVC stand for the armor itself, but this is going to be the base, kind of reuniting Blothar's armor back with his shield for the display. So I did the main glue up of the image to the rest of the stand. It didn't come out perfect. I should use a different kind of glue because I did get some bumps in there that just were a pain to smooth out. And unfortunately, I was dumb. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll just glue this down and use the dot that I put in the middle of the art as a template of where to start drilling for the mount. But unfortunately, when I did that, I was using a Forstner bit and it just ripped up the image right around where that hole mounts. So, in keeping with everything else, I covered up the crimes with some more blood. So I'll have a little bit of blood dripping down like the main stand piece off of the armor, basically. And yeah, just go to there. I mean, really, this isn't supposed to be a centerpiece. This is just an additional thing to help bring the look together. I'm a little disappointed it didn't come out quite as nice as I wanted it to. I might try it again later. But for now, I'm going to let it ride and see how it looks with everything else. And just to test it out, this is it on the shelf. I think I am going to put the armor probably towards the edge here, mostly just because I can overhang it a little bit off the edge of the display. And I think that'll kind of help when it comes to having space for everything. It is a bit bigger than the top of the display, but I think that kind of works. And yeah, I don't know, like seeing it here is making me pretty excited because there'll be some stuff in the middle or whatever, but then you're just going to have this disc with armor coming out of it. I think it's going to look really cool. I started painting up the stand. I'm just going to kind of go with more of the same like metal color that I used around the edges here. And the thing is, I don't really know how tall this is. Looking at pictures, if it includes what I think it does, the armor itself is really just like upper torso, but it has that cape that falls below it. And in some of the pictures from 2014, it looks like that goes down to like his knees. So I basically built the stand to sit at about 4 feet. I don't think it's going to need a full 4 feet, but I'll cut it down when I find out how much less I do need. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. One other piece I forgot I had. This is a homemade Blothar style helmet that I made. Not very accurate to his actual costume, but it was one of my first attempts at using like EVA foam and heating and bending and doing all that stuff. I think it was off of like an Evil Ted template or something. I'd honestly initially thought about setting it up so this could sit above the armor, but I kind of feel like it would cheapen everything to have my shoddy craftsmanship above actual stage-used armor. This doesn't feel right. It's too big, I think, for one of these cubbies, so I may build a little thing to mount it off the wall like I have with some of my Jason masks or something. So, that's probably what's going to happen with it. But kind of have an unintentional Blothar theme going on for sure. So I had a couple extra items in here today. I realized when I was going through the Blu-rays the other day, or DVDs, that I didn't have the new documentary, so got that from Amazon, added that in. As I was cleaning up the room, I had these skulls that I'd started corpsing, and not all of them were totally corpsed, but I figured I would add them to the bottom row until I have stuff to put there. Serves the purpose of getting them out of my way and, you know, filling out that bottom shelf for now. And then I got a magazine rack to put the comics in. So it has like 4 different tiers. So right now I've got Slave Pit Funnies on the bottom, Orgasmageddon single issues in the second one, the 3 graphic novels here in the third. I'm not entirely sure when the 4th one, because I mean, some graphic novel that's already in this set, because I pre-ordered it with the other bundle, but I don't know if I'm going to put it in this top one or if I'm just going to put it separately, because it is like hardcover with a slipcase and stuff, so it may not go there. I actually think it would be kind of cool to get like some magazines with GWAR on it and put it in this back shelf. I don't know how many they had to be in the cover of some stuff, I'm sure, right? And then I did go ahead and put the 2 prints I had ready up on the wall. I realized that I bought the wrong size frame for this one, so I'm going to have to go out and find whatever I used for this and replicate it. But overall, you know, slowly getting there. I'm recording this on Saturday night, and UPS says that the box should arrive by Friday, so that should be plenty of time to get everything together and be ready to reorganize all this crap when I find out that the more important stuff needs more space. It's here! It's finally here. This is super exciting, so I'm not even going to waste any time. Let's dig into this. Actually, I am going to waste some time because I need to point out that this box is taller than the display table it's going on. So that is something. Alright. I'm assuming the armor is going to be... fuck it. I'm just going to open this thing. I'm not even going to try to think about how this is going to be organized inside. Fucking sick. Alright, so first piece is the Lothar bobblehead. So this is 1 out of 1,000. I mean, a 1 of 1,000, not number 1, I would assume. I know they've done a few bobbleheads of GWAR. I think did Beefcake and Odorous previously. I don't know if this is from the same company or not. I will fully unbox him later, but right now we've got this little Lothar bobblehead. His antlers are in the package as well, so, or his, whatever they go on his back. So get him out on display in just a minute. And mine is 563. So basically just slightly over the middle of the range. And if you're surprised I'm wasting time putting this together while there is actual GWAR armor in this box, you're not alone. I don't know what the hell I'm doing either. Interesting. Bonus stuff, thank you for your patience from the Z2 crew, which Z2 is the comic company they went through. I think they're the ones that made like at least the most recent graphic novel. That's basically who fulfilled the order on this. And of course that pull tab disintegrates as I try to pull it across. Alright, like first up is the regular hardback of Duoverse of Absurdity, which is cool in its own right. Then, not a GWAR item, a King Diamond item, the Abigail graphic novel, which, that's exciting. And then I guess there's another one they do, Run the Dungeon. Not familiar with that one, but definitely cool looking. So I'll put the 2 of these aside and keep the GWAR stuff together. Another big old Z2 Comics box. So we've got the GWAR sticker sheet, the new Dark Ages album, which I already have, and I believe it was the same vinyl color. So I'll probably leave this one in the package. And then Deluxe Duoverse of Absurdity graphic novel, comic, whatever you want to call it. So it's got this big old case on it. Bloody spine up the back, and then I assume, right, you should just pop out of there. There we go. This thing's sick. I thought it was just going to be like the regular hardcover inside, but it's not. It is very cool looking. There's the back of it. It is signed on the inside by the band. Very cool. And then there's something else in here. Oh, so these are the prints that were coming. So 3 different prints. I'll have to go get frames for these. They're all in here. Looking very cool. It's just the armor left. So I forget if I mentioned it earlier in this video or not, but there was one other bigger piece that was supposed to be included in this, and I don't think it's in here. I was supposed to get a snare drum that they use in recording the new album, and I believe that was supposed to be signed and it arrived unsigned, so that had to be sent back, and then they just basically shipped this ahead and was going to ship the drum later. I believe that also was come with drumsticks, so I don't know if those are in here or if those are waiting for the whole drum part to come. A lot of foam in here. Look at that. Honestly, I know this armor hasn't been used in several years at this point, but I honestly expect to open this thing up and have it reek because I've heard how bad like GWAR armor can smell. Granted, that I think was like actively used GWAR armor, but I was honestly kind of wondering if it was going to just be disgusting. Holy shit, I am holding real GWAR armor. This is insane. Alright, let me get this on my stand, I guess, if it'll even support it. This is heavier than I expected. Let's see if the stand works, and then if it does, we'll take a closer look at it in detail. Alright, I was going to put it back on the tripod. We're going to go handheld and take a closer look at this. This is so sick. So, first off, my stand was a bit too flimsy when it was 2 pieces of PVC, so I shortened it down to the 1. The cape is dragging on the top of the table, but I don't think that's a terrible thing. I think that's going to be fine for what this is. Man, where the hell do I even start? I haven't even really had a chance to appreciate this yet. So, I guess we could start with the chest. It has that classic GWAR, where they call it like Mojo or whatever, going across the chest there. The whole thing is, I don't know, like, I know they make stuff out of foam latex, but it just doesn't feel how I thought it would feel, if that makes any sense. So we've got the furry kind of cape thing going around the shoulders. You can see it's like really tattered up in here around where his head would be. He did have the helmet with the antlers on it, so I don't know if that contributed or if it was cut down ahead of time just to keep him from having fur go in his face, or maybe it's just matted down from blood and whatever. You got the claws coming out the end here. It's really cool. There's even like, it's not just a claw, there is kind of like a paw in there coming over his shoulders on either side. Really cool. And like the whole chest armor, I always thought it was supposed to kind of look a little Mjolnir-ish. Seeing it in person, it's not quite that much of the shape. Like, I can kind of still see the hammerhead here, but it doesn't really have like a handle like I thought it did. It is more just like chest armor up behind it. They've got like these straps on the side. Look like they have like leather or something stuck onto them. The shoulder pads look amazing, like these fake rivets, all these cuts and stuff in them. This hammered metal pattern, these big rusty looking spikes bolted on, more spikes coming around the side of it. Underneath all this is what I think is like football shoulder pads, which I think is part of why it weighs so much. I'm pretty sure Brocky's armor and Beefcake's armor was built similarly, and maybe the rest of the band, I'm not really sure, but that does make sense as an easy template to build off of for something like this. Going around the back here, it's not as crazy to look at as the front, but there's some really cool details. One thing I hadn't really ever noticed on stage, it is heavy and falling over, great. This fur up top, I knew was blue. I thought the rest of the fur was blue too, but this is very dark down here at the bottom. And it actually kind of ends right here. This is the end of the blue hair. And then it moves into a black, which is kind of a thinner hair going down. This upper section is very long, and this is much like neater down here at the bottom. Got another great piece of GWAR sculpture back here. Kind of the plate on the back of the armor. Looks very, very cool. And another thing I thought was very neat is in here you can see a little PVC pipe sticking out, and there's like a bolt sticking out of the front of it. These are, I assume, where his big antler things would stick in. And then I assume those wing nuts, or kind of, or whatever they are, the bolts, are there to tighten down and hold them in place. That's cool. I was initially upset that it didn't come with the antlers, and now I'm realizing it would have been even bigger of a pain to put this anywhere if they had come with it. So, kind of glad it's just the armor. And just to laugh at it, there's my crappy homemade helmet above the real armor, because why not? I feel like there's probably a lot more to say about this, but I think I need a minute before I can even be coherent talking about what I have here because it's still kind of blowing my mind. Alright, so it's been about a month since I filmed anything else in this video. Actually, almost 2 months now. And ironically enough, like, despite being so excited to get all this stuff, I haven't been in this room even much since I filmed the last little bit of this video. Unfortunately, my dog passed away, like, right after I received the armor here. And, I don't know, in my head, I was just kind of associating the two of getting this set up and then him dying just shortly after I had it all together, and hasn't really made me want to be in here because they're kind of now tied together in my head, which is ironic because part of the reason I wanted the Blothar armor to begin with was kind of because I had some weird associations with other unfortunate deaths that had happened in my life and kind of the inclusion of Blothar into the band. It's really weird to try to explain, but I don't know, it's kind of strange to me that like the specter of death kind of followed this armor around in my head and it's still kind of there. Alright, so I went to edit what I was trying to say there and it just sounds really awkward the way I was trying to say it, so I'm gonna explain it a little bit better. But basically, 2014, the year that Brocky died, within the span of just over a year I had like 3 family members die. I also had a lot of other just crappy stuff going on in my life. And in like some weird way, like the stuff that was going on with GWAR became this like weird way to kind of put my feelings onto something that was a little bit removed from what was actually going on and just make it less shitty, for lack of a better term. Whether that was a healthy decision to make or not, I have no fucking clue, but that's basically how I kind of handled it to some degree. But kind of seeing GWAR lose one of the biggest members of the band and then continue to push forward and move on and all that stuff kind of gave me a feeling that like I could keep going through bad stuff and keep moving forward with all that. So like that's the real reason why I wanted this armor, because this was introducing the new singer to the band, basically them saying we're not quitting, we're still gonna keep going, that's not the end, all that stuff. I don't know. It sounds way overly dramatic when I say it this way, but yeah, that's why I pursued this piece, and that's, you know, I think I've said a couple times throughout the video that it does have like a kind of personal meaning to me. And I think I'd kind of fail in making this video if I didn't try to explain that a little bit, and I don't really know if it makes sense in actually recording it. But that's why I wanted it, and that's why it's important to me personally to have this thing. So while it kind of sucks that, like, I have another bad memory to kind of associate with the whole thing, and I know, you know, I say I lost 3 family members and then I'm like, oh, I lost my dog. Like, it's not really, you know, logically maybe those things aren't on the same level, but I fucking miss my dog, man. But honestly, like, kind of talking about my feelings behind all that, kind of, you know, even me saying it just now is like, yeah, well, that's kind of the whole point of it is, you know, keep moving on and, you know, not letting shitty things stop you or whatever. So it's fitting and then kind of just sad at the same time, I guess. But that's not what this is about. This is the last piece, I believe, to this set. So we're gonna open up this big old box here. They told me that the drum that was supposed to come with this was not signed like it was supposed to be, so it was sent back to the band to have them sign it. So I'm 99.9% sure that's what this is, because the return address is Richmond, Virginia. It's shipped from the west coast of Florida, which is where I think Blothar's human slave lives, and it says drum on the box. So, I mean, if it's not the drum, it's gonna be really weird. Alright, so we got a bunch of packing peanuts. So I'm gonna try to not make the world's biggest mess out of this. Alright, let's some of it. I'm still gonna make a mess here, I think. Yeah, I'm making a mess. Wow. That's pretty fucking sick looking. Damn. So this is a snare drum used to record New Dark Ages. Or New Dark Age. Is it plural? I think it's plural. So, let's see here. On the front, obviously, we got GWAR with the flying eyeball, which is great. As I'm talking, it is vibrating the drum. Cool. So should I just talk the rest of the time like this? This is just the ultimate cinematic sounding audio. No, but anyway, so yeah, I was wanting something flying eyeball related as part of my GWAR stuff back here, so this is perfect. And then it looks like our signatures are all around the outside. So we got Pustulus, Ballsack with a little Ballsack doodle on there, Blothar, does it say Moo underneath it? Got another Packing Peanut. We got Sawborg Destructo with a little Sawborg doodle, which is cool because I have some of these other autographs. I don't think there were doodles on any of them, so very cool. Bone Snapper with a Bone Snapper doodle. Fuck turtles. And of course, Jizmac with a 23 next to it. Very cool. This is nice. It's like dirty and beat up and has a lot of character to it. So I think the comics and stuff are gonna move, but that's gonna sit there for right now. I knew there was one more thing that was missing, and I was unsure if it was delayed with the drum head or if it was supposed to be another box that I couldn't find it, which I still have the other box sitting around almost 2 months later because I was worried that I was missing these. But I've got a pair of drumsticks used to record the new album. They are also signed by Jizmac with a 23 next to them, and they are his custom like GWAR sticks. Very beat up, obviously very well used. These are cool. I know I've seen a few of these going around. I mean, obviously you're going to record an album, you're going to go through a lot of drumsticks. As some people have mentioned theirs being numbered. These don't seem to be numbered outside of him signing them, but still very cool to have these. I'll have to find a good way to display them. I've seen there are like drumstick display racks and stuff you could get, so I may need to do that or build my own. So there we have it in the collection. I just ended up moving the books, or the comic books and stuff, over kind of in the shadow of the armor. This may not be its permanent location, but it's a little too tall for the cubbies down here, so I may have to figure something out that fits a little better. Or just make another little shelf to hold one or the other on. I think actually this thing mounts to the wall. That might be the answer, is mount this thing to the fucking wall. There we go. But, god damn is that beautiful. Kind of want to actually put it on like a turntable or something so it could spin and see all the autographs on it. And then the sticks I'll probably put up on the wall as well. For right this moment, I'll put it like this. It is also fitting having it this way, that the Jizmac autograph is at the very top. You know, fits with the whole drummer thing going on, but very happy. And really cool now that I have album-used GWAR stuff and then stage-used GWAR stuff. So it spans the whole range there from those pieces, you know, plenty of official releases, some releases from additional band members. Yeah, it's a big variety of GWAR all throughout this. And I'm sure this collection will grow as time goes on, but for right now, I am very happy with this setup.